Fitness and Sports Performance, along with
Amy Braganini. I'm a registered dietitian and I work at Lax Cancer Center downtown.
So we're creating a series of nutrition videos for you. We found that, more explanation and maybe showing more rather than just telling you about nutrition.
We'll talk just a second about why nutrition is important. Well, obviously we're at a gym, so we know exercise is important, but a healthy diet can be equally as important to leading a healthy lifestyle. Good nutrition can not only help you be at a healthy weight, it can reduce incidence of disease like cardiovascular disease, cancer, and diabetes. A healthy diet is so important for our brain function, and it helps us sleep good. And actually, really, eating a healthy diet boosts our self-confidence. So overall, that's really what we're going to discuss, is how to eat in a way that make us, our whole body healthy.
So we'll get right to our guidelines. So number one is eating breakfast, and trying to eat breakfast within 30 minutes to waking up. So, as you're sleeping, your metabolism kind of slows down, and we want to turn that back on so that, your body starts burning calories and is used to burning calories all day long, and not just, maybe when you eat lunch or dinner. So keeping your metabolism moving. And when I say eat breakfast within 30 minutes of waking, it doesn't mean, whatever you want. It doesn't mean just something. It means let's eat a healthy, nutritious breakfast, set yourself up for success for the day.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I tell my patients to eat breakfast, most important meal. Another very important component of nutrition is protein. Protein is, it's very integral to building muscle in our bodies. It actually helps us stay fuller longer, which is really important if we're trying to be at a healthy weight. Protein can come from many sources, though, and there's healthier forms of protein than others. So quality sources of protein include things like eggs, peanut butter, nuts and seeds, things like dairy products, specifically low-fat dairy products, and lean meats. And actually, there's a lot of buzz about whole grains lately being a great protein source. You've probably heard of things like quinoa, barley. They're just phenomenal sources of protein and fiber, which actually will keep you fuller longer. Next one, number 3. The other thing that I tell my patients every day is to get more fruits and vegetables in their diet. We know from a cancer perspective, and actually from every area of our life, fruits and vegetables are the absolute most important component of our diet to help us be at a healthy weight and prevent disease. Many people tell me, I don't have time to eat enough veggies or fruits. It's really difficult to get enough in. And so I'm frequently giving my patients hints and tips on how to consume enough produce. Basically adding vegetables to stir fries, to soups. Spaghetti sauce actually counts as a vegetable serving, if you didn't know that. So it's not hard to get the amount of servings of fruits and vegetables that you need a day. Making a fruit smoothie in the morning and adding a few different types of fruits can be 1 or 2 servings, which will really help. In addition, healthy fat. Pairing a healthy fat with your fruit and vegetable intake, for example, if you added avocado to a spinach salad, or if you added a little olive oil to your carrots that you are sauteing, you're actually going to absorb more of the vitamins from the vegetables with the healthy fat source. So that's another piece to think about when you're eating a healthy diet. And step number 4 is one that we all have heard of: avoid processed foods, but a lot of patients say, well, what's a processed food? Generally, I tell patients processed foods are anything with more than 5 ingredients. If you're in a hurry, going through the grocery store and you're not sure if something's, quote, good for you or bad for you, I always say look at the ingredients list, and if it's so long and you can't pronounce a lot of the words, it's likely a processed food, and that's not something that I recommend for a healthy diet. So sticking to the perimeter of the grocery store will really limit the amount of processed foods that you might find. There's a lot of natural whole foods around the perimeter, and just spend as little time as possible in the snack aisle and some of the other aisles.
Yeah, and right along with that is number 5. So trying to make your own breads, snacks, condiments. If you do that, you can avoid that processed food. So sometimes people have a tough time with it because they think it's going to take a lot of time, or they don't know where to start. And so that's why we're going to kind of dive deeper into that. So how to prepare those things, and how to do them pretty quickly and easily, actually. All right, so number 6, getting enough water throughout the day. So, one of the easiest ways to kind of calculate it is take how much you weigh, divide that by 2, and that's how many ounces you should be drinking. Okay, so say someone is 180 pounds, 90 ounces of water per day.
Water is one of the most important nutrients that we take in. It aids in proper digestion of our food. It can help with proper metabolism. It's important for sleep and our brain function, and generally, overall, we don't drink enough, and it's easy. A lot of my patients say, I just don't remember to drink at all. So I tell them to keep a water bottle handy or fill up their own frequently throughout the day and keep it visible so they'll remember. Number 7 on our list is basically to eat every 3 to 4 hours. Many people will say, well, I skipped breakfast today, so that's a savings of calories, and I only had a light lunch, but by the time they get to dinner, they eat everything but the kitchen sink. So I try to remind them every 3 to 4 hours, try to make sure you're hungry, but at least have something healthy, maybe 2 or 3 food groups as a snack every 3 to 4 hours. So that could be half of a turkey sandwich with a slice of cheese, or hummus with whole grain crackers and an apple. Something like that will really help kind of keep them fuller longer, and certainly checking themselves to see if they're really hungry or if it's just that they're bored or stressed or something like that. And that's kind of segue into our next point, is number 8, and we need to really be aware of how much we're eating. Okay, so people mindlessly eat every day. I'm very guilty of it myself. It's very easy to sit down in front of the television and eat your entire dinner and not even taste it, or planning a presentation at work and being in front of your computer and eating your lunch and not realizing it. Other ways that people mindlessly eat, basically eating while standing up, or not knowing actually the serving size of how much they're getting. So we're actually going to get into more on mindless eating in next videos.
Number 9, we have plan, prepare, and shop. Okay, so if we plan ahead of time, we are way more likely to, make healthier choices than if we were to just grab something last minute that's quick, but someone else maybe prepared or is packaged, prepackaged. And that's another thing that we're going to dive way into, because that's where people get stuck, I think, the most is they have a hard time, or they think it's going to take too long, but really it actually saves time, and it creates, it helps it to be so much more easy during the week if you already have an idea of something planned, something most of the way prepared, so you can just throw it together to cook it for a meal. Our last guideline, number 10, is to let yourself live a little. So we kind of talk about the 90% rule. So 10% of the time, just kind of let yourself have a treat. I said cheat meal on the guideline, but I think you should maybe kind of think of it as like a treat meal, because if you set yourself up and say this is going to be okay, it's not necessarily cheating. It's I'm letting myself enjoy this, or and when you do, don't necessarily overindulge and let it get too far, because that can kind of maybe lead to some bad habits. But eating the right portions and just eating something that maybe really tastes good to you, but may not be the most healthy choice. So the goal, really overall, is to create a healthy, way of eating, and that's sustainable, so that eventually you don't necessarily have to look at these checklists. You don't have to check things off, but it's just your way of eating, and you know how to prepare things, you know how to plan.
A healthy habit.
You know what to choose.
Yeah. Yep, and like Tiffany said, in the next few videos, we're going to kind of dive into more of what we briefly touched upon. The meal planning, as you said, I find that this is the key to a successful, healthy diet, is planning ahead. Certainly, we'll show you basically too how to prep food. I think that's another struggle that many people have, is they get the food home and then what to do with it. So we'll kind of go through that, and then we'll spend a little time talking too about more into mindless eating, cravings versus hunger, and we'll talk a little bit about when my patients say, I think I'm addicted to sugar. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more too.
So I hope that at least a few of these things were helpful for you. Don't get overwhelmed. We're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper into these things and explain and show you how to do things. So like I said, start with one habit. Maybe it's the water, maybe it's trying to eat more vegetables throughout the day. Start with one, and work your way up to being able to accomplish more of these over time.